ugly truth about things they don't want you to know. Bunch of topics. I'm talking about the ugly truth about Trudeau, Trump, Ukraine, umbilical cords, and a bunch of cute stuff and spiritual stuff. And it's not all gloom and doom. I usually take a week off, sometimes longer, because I don't think being on Instagram every day is good for my health or anybody's health. Some people may ask, is everything a lie? No, not everything is a lie. Just most things. Especially if it's coming from the mainstream media or any kind of huge organization. Okay? So, enjoy.
This next story is so unbelievable, we didn't think it could possibly be true. Reports from the Army, it's confirmed that during the Cold War, the United States military conducted secret tests on unsuspecting people in the city of St. Louis. A local sociologist will make her findings public tomorrow, but she spoke first to the I-Team's Lisa Zignan.
Lisa Martino-Taylor's life work has been to uncover details of the Army's ultra-secret military experiments carried out in St. Louis and other cities during the 1950s and 60s.
This study was secretive for a reason. They didn't have volunteers stepping up and saying, yeah, I'll breathe zinc cadmium sulfide with radioactive particles.
What are they spraying in the air?
These Army archive pictures show how the tests were done in Corpus Christi, Texas in the 1960s. In Texas, planes were used to drop the chemical, but in St. Louis, the Army placed chemical sprayers on...
Just so you know, with the reason why we're having a Ukraine war is because the United States overthrew the government in Ukraine in 2014, and then that government that we installed, a lot of the people in the eastern part of Ukraine didn't want to live with that government because it was a coup government, and they were more Russian separatists, and so they had a peace agreement, and the government of Ukraine was supposed to leave those people alone in the eastern Ukraine. They didn't.
Oh,
Not only did they not leave alone, they bombed them for 8 years straight, killing at least 14,000 of them. And so then Putin invaded to try to stop that, among other things.
They love to bomb.
And we've been threatening to put Ukraine in NATO. Plus, there's a gas pipeline called Nord Stream 2. So there's lots of things. It's none of the stuff you hear on the news is why the Ukraine war is happening. So
Disney is a problem. Toy Story, 1995. A Bug's Life, 1998. Same truck, pizza truck. Toy Story 2, 99. Same pizza truck. Monsters, Inc., 2001. Oh, another pizza truck. Finding Nemo, 2003. Oh, pizza truck. Cars. Let's see if there's a pizza truck. There it is. 2006. Ratatouille. Hidden in the background. Pizza truck. Wall-E. I never saw that. 2008. There she is. Toy Story 3. There it is again.
What was drugging my daughter Jessie for a year before she went to sea. I believe that she was killed June 20th, 2016, because it was a full moon and the summer solstice at the same time, and then the next day was Lilith. Lilith is a holiday that the occult does celebrate, and it requires a human sacrifice. I had a person say to me that if I looked around at the environment and looked at the seasons, I would see a pattern. And as I looked and did more research, realized that it was very specific and that people went missing on very specific days throughout the whole year.
Mom thinks everything's connected to other missing persons cases. Like it's a big web.
I believe that Jessie was tortured for the drug adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a chemical that our body produces when we are
Adrenochrome is something that you should probably research on your own, but it's terrible, so, you know, if you're squeamish, I wouldn't research it.
I believe that the police are protection.
All right, Rand Paul, tell him how you really feel.
I think you've got no idea what disinformation is, and I don't think the government's capable of it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech.
Facts.
You think we can't determine, speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is. Government is largely disseminating disinformation.
Yep, largely disseminating disinformation.
There's going to be a new world order out there.
Here comes
We've
Brandon.
got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world and do it.
Admiration that have so long eluded me. Mine will be a new world order with time.
There are over 750,000 sex offenders in the United States, and they don't have to carry a card because it violates their privacy.
Thus are some friends of mine. They wanted to say, I said, don't come tonight. Let's go another time. It's pouring. Woody Johnson, a great gentleman. You ever hear of Johnson & Johnson? He owns the place. I tell you what, this guy's got cash like nobody's got cash. Johnson & Johnson. His incredible wife, Suzanne Johnson, whose family is very, very close, and she comes from Ukraine. So she has a little bit of a hard time with it, but she's an incredible woman.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson, so cool, so Pfizer and Moderna, okay?
And look, I guess in a certain way I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it.
Respect to the MAGA crowd who just stood there like, isn't Johnson & Johnson in the news now for something else? Can you let me know in the comment section? Don Juan, the great vaccine salesman, just can't stop himself from covering for Big Pharma. If you were smearing me for noticing this a year ago and you want to apologize, you don't have to, I forgive you. But you would look better in a God Bless hat, let's be honest.
Although I think you're a magnanimous individual, but you and your corporation, McCormick, you are a part of the WEF, the World Economic Forum. You, as well as you, Oz, they're both part of the World Economic Forum. This is a very serious organization that has a mindset of pushing globalism and ESG, environmental social governance.
Okay, thank you.
And we need to be mindful of that.
Thank you, Ms. Barnett. 15-second quick response, sir, Mr. McCormick.
Well, listen, I've run two businesses, wildly successful businesses. I'm not going to apologize for my success. I have done business around the world. It makes me uniquely capable of understanding the global world that we live in. I've served in the military. I've served in combat. So I know how to deal with the challenges we face.
All right.
And just like President Trump, that experience is going to make me a better senator.
But that didn't have anything to do with the World Economic
Thank you.
Forum.
Let's continue on with Mr. Bartos.
President Trump endorsed Dr. Oz instead of Kathy Barnett. I think he made a mistake.
Intentionally demoralizing and desensitizing the population through media culture and diet. I'm not saying they're intentionally shutting down small businesses, destroying the middle class, and transferring the majority of the wealth to the world's largest corporations. I'm not saying they're intentionally trying to divide us with fear, hatred, and race baiting, but if they were, would they be doing anything different? I'll see myself out.
So Bill Gates just a few months ago said, if every country does what Australia did, the world could prevent the next pandemic. Considering this is the case count in Australia, this is the death chart, this is the case count and the death count in America. So Bill Gates just a few months ago said, if every country does what Australia did, the world could prevent the next pandemic. Considering this is the case count in Australia, this is the death chart, this is the case count and the death count in America, where we didn't follow that tight of restrictions. And this is Sweden, literally for the day at 0 for deaths and cases, despite the fact that they, for a long time, have had some of the least restrictions in Europe. How dumb do you have to be to believe this sloppy, leftover potato salad-looking guy into thinking that your basic human freedoms are a threat to your health when with billions of dollars, he doesn't even have the self-accountability and self-awareness to be healthy himself? Usually he's a pretty good liar, but he's getting sloppy.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this cabinet, are actually young nobles of the World Trade Fund. We penetrate the cabinets. Trudeau, half of this cabinet, are actually young nobles of the World Trade Fund. Penetrate the cabinets. The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us. We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? Take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There is only one way this pandemic is going to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
The next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
Actually, a really great question. So when the baby is born, you're not supposed to cut the umbilical cord right away. And the reason for that, the umbilical cord still contains blood that the baby needs because of the nutrients in it. On the left, we have an umbilical cord that was cut immediately, and on the right, we have an umbilical cord that was not cut right away. So you see the difference? The baby still needs to receive all of this. So this umbilical cord that you see right here was cut after 15 minutes. It says here, why cut your baby's only oxygen supply before he or she has expanded their lungs for their first breath? Those 15 minutes make a big difference for a newborn baby. The benefits of delayed cord clamping consist of higher birth weight, increased blood volume, oxygen levels, and nutrients. Our red blood cells, stem cells, and immune cells all increase. And we also have increased iron storage and decreased risk of anemia. Check it out, it says here, the iron in the blood increases infants' iron storage, and iron is essential for healthy brain development.
Feel free to keep the mask on because we'll probably get feel religious. Yeah. It turns into a speak.
I don't even know my competitors' names. I don't even know they exist. Give a fuck. Spend 0 seconds on it. Cheering for them, let them do their thing, has nothing to do with me. The world is abundant. Nobody on earth is taking your money or your happiness.
The taxes continue. The growth of government continues. The deceptions continue on every front. We continue to lose our national sovereignty. The banks continue to run everything. And so we get to choose between two sides of the same issue. I mean, nothing changes, but we're led to believe, there's the illusion. We're led to believe that if we choose one side or the other, somehow we're going to be determining our own political destiny. But it's all pre-planned. And I'm just here to say that over the years, I've come to realize that quite often the people who are offered to us as opposition leaders are not opposition leaders. They're there to pretend to be opposition leaders to make sure that a real one doesn't come along.
Right.
Yeah. This happens all the time.
As early as 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric.
If you met somebody who was genuinely in a state of joy, you would know it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have this, it's not the peak experience that we're taught that joy is. We're taught to see this elevated state of almost mania as joy. That's not true joy. A person who's in true joy seems more in the physical and more here and more contented with the simple things. So you're more likely, I mean, monks and nuns in Buddhist monasteries, honestly, like that's just a whole subculture. So there's a whole lot of like misery going on there, but you're more likely to find somebody, one person in those types of settings who's actually in a genuine state of joy. Like what you're normally seeing when you're, with what you two are describing right now in the world is just the perpetual state of avoidance. So it has almost like an addictive feeling to it, you know?
It's your birthday.
Did you know that you can grow your own mushrooms in the garden in 3 different ways to maximize the food production of your growing space? Number 1.
Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
This is 1 egg. Yeah! 1 banana equals 1 egg. So the next time you're about to bake, leave out the clock in.
23%. A lot of people imagine that skinless chicken breast is fat-free. Well, catch this. If you were to send some chicken white meat to a lab, with the skin removed, it turns out that, in fact, 23% of its calories come from pure fat, which is why chicken makes it hard to lose weight or to lower your cholesterol. And I think that's where the phrase chicken out comes from. Good advice.
Were they involved? Is a collusion, in your opinion, with what's happening really to both of y'all, in your opinion?
I think Ashley Biden's attorney's statement about we should send to the SDNY is self-evident. There's also a poster in the room. You can see the 4 photos there. We find this extraordinary, that Roberta Kaplan is the same attorney for Ashley Biden. She's also the same attorney for former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and she represents the woman married to the son of the U.S. attorney who signed all the secret warrants against me. So those are the facts. Those are pretty self-evident facts, and I don't wish to opine beyond the facts.
That's unbelievable. This is every American needs to know what not only y'all have gone through, but to see these facts.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
Alright, my people, so let me first start off by saying I have my fair share of time working in the food industry, and I just want to say sometimes people are serving meat that looks like this.
And that's the only reason. With Tesla back in the day, funding was actually secured. I want to be clear about that. I should say, why do I not have respect for the SEC? Because the SEC knew that funding was secured, but they pursued active public investigation nonetheless. At the time, Tesla was in a precarious financial situation, and I was told by the banks that if I did not agree to settle with the SEC, that the banks would cease providing working capital and Tesla would go bankrupt immediately. So that's like having a gun to your child's head. So I was forced to concede to the SEC unlawfully, those bastards, and now it makes it look like I lied when I did not in fact lie. I was forced to admit that I lied to save Tesla's life, and that's the only reason.
Happy unlearning.